How pleased do I look? We are, we're in the morning, and as you all know, I don't normally work in the morning, but I get a call first thing to say that half a dozen of our calves are beyond the mile and in somebody else's herd. Yeah, that's a new one. Why would your calves leave a perfectly good hayfield and run across a road? So they were pretty good about it. They said, yeah, well, if they're still feeding, they'll probably leave later on today when the mums start calling them back. If not, we'll round them up and get them back, whatever. So I come out, put silage out to the cows. The next thing I see a whole bunch of calves over at the far end of the field. I'm like, why are they over there? Then I find out there's a big coyote rounding the calves up and chasing them into the trees. Yeah, like I said, that's a new one. I actually watched him do it until he realized I was coming down the back road with the tractor, and then he took off. Honest as shit, pardon my French. Can't make this stuff up. Yeah, Mr. Gear. What the heck is going on? Oh! Fiber Dog's not in a happy place. You might get that. So yeah, I gave them silage last night in a nice spot. I thought it'd be great for them. You saw that in the previous video. Well, apparently that was leading them too close to the hayfield, so they camped out there. And then the coyotes grabbed a little handful of the stupid little buggers and chased them over to the tree line where they could grab them. So all the ones that were still within reach, I got them back onto our field. I'm waiting to hear back from our neighbor to see if there's any of them still in with his cows while I've been calling this lot home. So days like this, you could quit ranching. Between water troughs and calves and fences. Yep. You can pack her in today quite easily. Anyway, problem solving. Put the food out, lure the animals closer back to the yard, shut them away from the offending fence that's not doing its blinking job, and then we'll work our way back from there. Here they are, the last of the little lawbreakers. Oh, I tell ya. I was just talking to BP on the old messenger there, and I just saw he had said in his last video they're going to be weaning right away and taking them straight to market. And I just kind of thought, and I talked it over with Mrs. Yes, I know the seat is an absolute ball ache. I talked over with Mrs. Piper Dog, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to set up for this week, and we are going to wean these calves into the corrals and then shut them in, because I can't be doing with this. These ones have no respect for the fence. There is power in the fences over here, and there was power in the neighbor's fence too, and they would just scoot right underneath them. They don't care. So yeah, we're gonna wean them a little bit early. Most of them are plenty size for it. Some of them maybe not so much, but for the most part they are a good enough 400 or 500 pound calves, so they're good enough to wean. So that's the plan. Yeah, that escalated. So we're on the edge of this storm, so we're not going to get it just quite as bad, touch wood, as what some of them are getting it, but it's bad enough. It's unpleasant. It's wet, sloppy, very sloppy. So yeah, this is what you would call would be the 21st century's number 9 wire. These are the straps that are on the net wrap. Man, you can use these for all my panels. The ones that are not like permanently anchored down for the winter, that we're just putting in for like sorting and whatnot. That's what these get put in for. I'm gonna put some chains on these guys because these are permanent. These are getting straps, and then we've got a bunch at the back. That way we're going to give the animals access to here in case the storm winds up a little bit. So get going. It was supposed to be done at 7 o'clock. It's 9 now and it's thicker than ever. She's almost there. Gotta go and get diesel so I can turn it over and get all the fluids all circulating. Yeah, I'll bring you back for that. No leaks so far. Hey, Squeener. Chippy. Felicia, there's Bodie. Big Bodie. Jeannie. That's Ginny's little girl. Jeannie. She will probably be staying. Yeah, man, this is where you like it. Go from 2 days ago where I could have sold the lot to this. So this is the main herd. There's 80 cow-calf pairs here. So yeah, right now we are at about 110, 115 actually right now. There's 115 cow-calf pair breeds in the herd, and then we have a few stragglers like the culls and stuff, but right now we are breeding 115 head, which at the moment is fine. And like I said 2 days ago, it was about 114 too many. Aye. Good day. Take the wins. Hey, Allie. Yeah, this is how we do it. They've got food out there. The food in here is over. Well, a little bit. So mums are motivated. Calves not so much to come past me. And then Mrs. Piper Duck will come in at the backside to push any straggler cows down, which there shouldn't be too many. And once they're separated, then I'll come in here, bed and feed these guys, and that's it. It is 4:05. Waiting for the boss lady to come out, and we'll get at her. Now it starts. They're just starting to realize, the mums are just starting to realize something has happened. Because they're out there eating, and once they get their fill, then they'll realize, oh, something's missing. So yeah, like I said, we're a few weeks early from where we normally would, but just with the weather and things going on with the wildlife and fences and stuff, we're gonna get her done. Like, you look at big Bodie there. Yeah, it was like 10-15 minutes start to finish, but Piper Doug did poo up. One big steer got by. There was a bunch of 3-year-old second timers, second calf or heifers went by, and then this one big steer, like right down the middle of the screen, one of those slipped right by in the group. I just caught it at the end. I could tell a bit of a difference. And I was like, dang it. So there's one big calf, and Lamar, the other bull, he went out. Because they were motivated. They rushed by me. So, yeah. One little bit of cleanup to do, but the majority of it's done. So they'll be in here till they calm down, and then we'll move them across the road. Because we'll move them into one of the corrals down there, and then we'll use the other corral to bring the culls over, and then we'll start processing later on. But Yes, and you'll notice there's more than just a bull in here. There's a cow close to us, and there's a cow far away from us. Close to us is Queenie, and far away from us is Butters. Those are the ones with the little summer calves. So yeah, we felt best to keep them on. We'll let two mums run with the babies probably until we process at the end of the year, and then we'll pull them off then. Because those two calves are way too young to be weaned right now. And it won't hurt Queenie any, and I think Butters is going to go to the other pen this coming year because she is that age. So okay, I'm just going to do some board fixing because I can see a couple of boards where little heads will try and poke out and they'll end up breaking the board. And then the whole lot of them will be at it. Yeah, this pen has sections getting rebuilt and sections needing done. This one here too. So, let's get on. She's been a long 24 hours. And I know all you ranchers know this well. So, I'm challenging everybody out there in YouTube land, all my wonderful subscribers, to remind me of this next year at weaning time. When I mention weaning, to say, Piper Doug, make sure you have both pens ready. Why both pens? Because you want to lock up the calves and you want to lock up the cows separately so they can't see each other. Make sure they get bedding and food. Lock them up, because that was a long night. Those cows, they paced a lot. Now, shockingly, Bowie, and there's another cow, I think she's behind that bale there. There was only 2 cows out this morning, shockingly. There's Leah. So yeah, starting to get a little hoarse. So yeah, lock the cows over here and then lock the cows in here. Remind me of that next year, everybody, because we did it last year and I remember now that I was like, yay, no worries, no stresses, just listen to them bark and go back to bed. I was up a lot. I was out with a flashlight a lot. And for the most part, half the cows couldn't give a bee's behind. Half of them were somewhat miffed. Half a dozen of them were motivated to make my night a living heck. And you're probably hearing their kids right now. Yeah. So, yes, we filtered, the calves were in there last night. We filtered them around here and into here. And yes, the crush sits there because once they come around the corner and go in, they can't come back to the gate. One of my little lessons. So, it's almost 5 o'clock, so somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock, we're going to let them in here, shut them in for the night. And that'll be them. Like I said, you look out there. Most of them, they're happy. And then you get that. Because like a good portion of the calves are already weaned. Apparently that's called the blood moon. I think we'll call it the blood curdling moon. Oh my gosh. Yeah, night number 2. Hey bugaboos. That's weird, like I can see quite clearly with the full moon, but for some reason the camera's not picking it up. See, a lot of the calves are quite fine. Just some of them are just losing their gourd. Funny thing is, the hobbit cows are used to being the noisiest ones out here. Right now they're in shock because their neighbors are rather louder. So, out for a night shift, check on everybody. Everybody's where they need to be, good and good. I just noticed I had a board pop loose. I'm gonna stick it back up because the yearlings, the bred yearlings in here with the hobbits, here in the next day or two, they're gonna pop out here and come into here now that I've moved the panels down. And then we'll move the panel up. We'll move this panel down towards that opening down there a little bit further and just give them this space out here as an extension of this pen. And then that'll let us bring the cull cows into where the calves and the two summer cows are, and get them moved in. So by the time you go to do processing at Christmas, we will wean the later calves and the cull cows and haul those cows away, except for Queenie. Queenie stays, but Beaner, Butter, that's it, Butters, she will be leaving with the cull cows, sadly. So anyway, I'm gonna get this done. It's actually a gorgeous night. That's Jupiter right there. So I gotta get this leveled out because I'm kind of building myself into a corner here. So yeah, I moved the panels down to there. So this is the only time I can come in here and do this. And then once all the other stuff is caught up, I can come back in here once all the rocks and stuff have been smashed out, and then move these panels down to here and give these guys a bigger share of the corral to come in and shelter. There's a few of them. There's a few of them laying inside, but the most of them still lay outside. But they were in today because it was blowing pretty hard. So I'm gonna get this smashed out. $10 p.m. night number 2. Slowly calming down. And before any of the well-wishers out there are thinking this is mean, this is cruel on these animals. Just to know that these girls here, the majority of them already have a 4 to 5 month old fetus growing inside of them. So at this point, they need to be putting more energy into growing their new baby and building their energy stock for the winter than feeding a calf that at this point is more than capable of feeding itself, because they'll have grain and they will have the utmost of quality of hay. So it's not mean. It's actually being very, very kind to the mother. To some of these big calves, if you've ever seen these big calves, as they start searching for milk on mums that are starting to dry up, they are quite violent. They're quite physical. And you do get the odd cow that will abort. So one more night and then we're over the hump. Oh, it's okay. We'll clean that up. Don't worry. It happens to the best of them. So, it's time Time to drop the loader. So, I'm gonna pull the loader. I've never done this one before. So we're gonna pull the loader, get it as far over there as we can. Back this over there a bit, and then we'll strip the frames out too. So, yeah, this is not fun, because this is all one piece on either side, so they're quite sizable. So it's gonna be fun. I think putting them back on, it's probably gonna be skid steer chains and a whole bunch of blocks and stuff, but like they said, it'll save a whole bunch of labor time in getting the tractor split, because as you can see, she's still dripping a wee bitty. But yeah, they're gonna have to go in there because they figure the clutch has come apart as well as the hydraulic pump needs done. So yeah, a bit dirty. I think this week is supposed to be somewhat mild, so I might be able to get out with some warm water and a brush and give it a dicht doen. So, let's have at her. Well, what the heck was that noise? Anyway, so they had said, maybe if you could take the loader frame off the tractor, that would save a bunch of shop time. And I thought, well, I could probably do that. You know, I showed you guys, well, this is quite a lot of metal here. I think you guys are messed up here. There we go. So I got looking at it going, that's a lot of steel. Like, you can take the lower back rail off, take it off in two pieces. That might help. Till I realized the bracket is in behind the cab mount. So you gotta pick up the cab, undo the bracket, and take out that frame rail. So yeah, I'm not touching that. No. I took off the old nose protectors because we all know how well they were doing. But yeah, I think that's as far as I'm going. I'm not in the mood to drop things on me and get killed. So, started taking this apart because this is something I know that there's an issue. And I don't know if you can pick this up. I think maybe she's due some bushings, guys. Maybe. Well, the great thing is, it looks like they replaced the pins. Because those pins are pretty tasty looking. And didn't bother changing the bushings. Because not a lot fell out. So I think it's hard to tell. Because that stuff fell out of this side. And that stuff fell out of that side. So it looks like there is still a bit of a bushing left in there. So I'm gonna fire out these top pins and see how bad it is. The pins aren't bad, but it's one of those jobs if you're this deep into her, how much is a set of pins? So I'll bring you back. So yeah, I know I've been asked. I've been asked why a guy who's in his 50s now, who at one point was part of a quite large farm, is now dealing with stuff that's been this badly messed with. So the story behind this orange tractor for all the new subscribers is, when the family decided to sell the other part of the farm, the big grain farm side, there was a point where when we were settling everything up, we weren't sure if everything, all the debts would be paid down, and we weren't sure whether, you know, once the dust settled, what would be on what side of the red line and the black line. So instead of buying into the newer tractor, which was I think it was 3 years old at the time, a T6 185, kind of like what BCP runs, except a few years newer, but not without its problems. Big issue was we weren't sure we could afford to take it on, like to buy it back from the family and then also to afford to run it, because the parts are expensive for those tractors. Not saying the parts for these are not expensive either. So when the decision was made that we couldn't afford to keep the blue tractor and we put it into the family auction, we were kind of at a crunch to find a tractor to stand in. And this was the only thing we could find in the price range for the horsepower and for what it could do. Front wheel assist, loader, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, it's not even a self-leveling loader, but it's the quickie Euro hitch. So, yeah, when we got it, it had just over 10,000 hours on it. So, I think we paid 36,000 for it. Looking at it now, we probably overpaid by about 5, knowing now. As we're about to spend about $20,000 on getting it split, clutch, and hydraulic pump. And this past year, getting this front axle rebuilt was just right around about the $10,000 mark. And as you can see, it is not clean, which means a lot of the seals that were just put in are leaking again. That one predominantly, and that's the tube seal that's leaking that way. We've also had to have a new prop shaft because part of the problem was what destroyed the differential was the prop and the prop linkage were worn so badly that they chewed the end of the prop completely out. Yeah, that's a good one. So, talking to the company that we hired to weld up the end of it and machine new 540 splines onto it, because the other end is perfect. They said it would be cheaper just to build a whole brand new one, because they wouldn't back the work that they would do to fix that, to build it up and then machine it back down. So, yeah. And you cannot get these. That's the great thing about these machines. You cannot get certain parts anymore. Because some parts were for Massey Ferguson, some parts were for Agco Alice, some parts were for White, which was the silver version of this, and some parts were for Challenger, the yellow version of this. So it comes in orange, it comes in red, like Massey red, Agco orange, Challenger yellow, and White silver. So yeah, we'll be literally what we paid for the tractor into repairs by the end of this year. Touch wood, the engine is tight. It smokes a little bit, but I have new injectors for it. But for the most part, it's good. So if they can get this clutch, gearbox, pump sorted out, it's a good tractor. We just got to go over everything and replace all the bushings. Like I was just checking this out. So, as you can see, Probably. I haven't even checked this one. Oh, this one's worse. And yes, you can hear grease in there because I have been greasing them. But the problem is when the bushings are so bad and you put grease in, most of the grease just comes back out the side and ends up making a big old sloppy mess. But like I said, you can see she was wet. But this is where we're at. No point crying over it now. Spend the money. They cost money. Anyway, let's get on. I'm at a loss. I honestly am. So, you can see how big of a gap there is for the bushings. And then you can see how little of bushings are left. Those ones are worn to bits. Those are at that end of the ram. So one side's completely tore, just buggered. So I pulled the front end of the ram out. Brand new bushings in this end of the ram. There is no play at all. So, as you can see, the play is in the hole. Yeah, I know I put it in, they should be in the other way around, but you can still see the gap. But, as I said, new bushings in this end. Bushings in this end destroyed. Really? You're this far in. So yeah, basically, what I can do is get skinny bushings, or even just use some of these ones and make shims for in here and put them in once I put everything back together. Actually, when that side's going in that way, I'll put a shim in that way to build up this hole. Just to take that slop out of this end. This end's the one that was having the issues. So when you would go to start away, and because it's got a very jumpy clutch, by saying very jumpy, I mean epilepsy, the whole loader, if you had it up, would actually jump back. And I'm not even going to do a James Brown thing, because there was so much slop in these pins, the loader would actually arc back up over the cab that badly. Dangerous, actually, in case those pins ever broke. She would just fold right on over backwards. So yeah, that's a new one on me. Brand new bushings on one end, not in the other. Dumb. I get those ones don't do as much work as these, because these ones turn a lot more on that than those turn in that. So anyway, loading Sammys again. So yeah, this is the last year's hay still to go out. It was sold a couple of months ago, but the people just have never had time or inclination to get it out of here, so here we are. And yes, the weather's not the best for having Sammys come down a summer road to load out of a secondary hay yard. So lucky enough, it froze pretty hard last night, so he didn't skid around too much. There's load one away. Man, I didn't realize how good those bales were. There's actually quite a lot of grass in them. So yeah, there's a reason, if you'll notice, why it's a single top tier. Because it's only 80 bales, it's only 3-part loads instead of, you couldn't get it all on 2, because it's 34 bales to a load full stack. And B, I'm pretty sure the trucker did not want to be climbing along the top of that bale stack, putting straps on today, because it's blowing an absolute gale. Load number 2. So, the last load will be a little bit bigger, because that's a 26 load, the last load has to be a 28. So that means the top row will be a double row for 2. Easy done. Old Johnnie Deere is getting her done. There's load number 3. Okay, that is our 4th last customer fulfilled. So we've got one more customer from last year's hay stock, which is the 200 lot that's in the yard there, and that Scott is just up the road. And then we have the donkey trading, horse trading guys. So